Hello, good morning, and this is Her Voice Collective. I am Gemma, and I know you weren't expecting me today. However, I've been really kindly asked to interview a very special guest for today's podcast. Today we'll be going into what feminine leadership is, why now, why is it so important, and there is no better person to talk about feminine leadership and women in business than my very special guest today, who is Kim Shelar.
Yaha!
So she's taken the other seat today, quite rightly so. I've personally been working with Kim for, I think it's around 5 years now. And I can only say my life has gone from strength to strength since diving deeper into energy, into diving deeper into who is Gemma, and kind of defining that through a number of workshops and retreats actually we've done together. And I'm really excited for you guys today because I think there'll be a lot that we can take from the conversation, and I think there'll be lots of aha moments. There'll be a lot of double clicking moments, our famous saying from Kim. And Kim, welcome.
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you for taking on that role today. Very weirdly, we have the best conversations, and every single time it's like if we just had a camera. So we have a camera, we have the setting. Let's go all in.
Let's go all in. So let's start off. How are you feeling today, and how are you feeling about this conversation?
I feel amazing every day. I was telling you that I haven't cried in a long time.
Let's go there.
And I hardly said that to you a couple of days ago, and that night I started to cry, but it was just the sheer joy of how life turned out. And you know this, and to share it with everyone, and I posted it this morning, that the biggest permission you want to give yourself is stop trying to control. Manifesting as well is a teeny tiny element of control. You've known this for the last 4 years. I started with tiptoeing into surrender. Then I was like, my life got better. Maybe go ankle deep into surrender. Last year, I thought I'd dive deep into surrender. And oh my God. Because there is so much on the other side of what I don't know. You got to know yourself to know how to function. But then you have to have the acceptance that I don't know so much. Can I let go of control? And I've gone of that, whether it's controlling the outcome, whether it's controlling the narrative. And life is so good.
So good to hear. And again, I've been with you on some of this journey. And I've been watching from the sidelines, cheering you on, as I think every woman in business should be doing as well. And actually in general life, I think there's no better position to be seeing one of your really good friends and also teachers kind of going from strength to strength. And I learn from you every single day. And I know that there's a group of ladies that learn from you every single day. And yeah, I just want to say thank you from all of us as well, because you're really treading the path before we kind of get there. I always say you're a year or two ahead of me, so I like to follow in your footsteps as well. But I think it's great to know how you're doing in this moment. However, I know it hasn't always been rosy. So I feel that now we've got you in the hot seat, we want to learn a little bit more about Kim, kind of who was the first Kim, because I know you're going into Kim 2.0 and 2.0 Affinity. So I'd really like us to understand a little bit more about you, kind of your journey, and what's brought you to today and having these kind of conversations about female leadership.
Well, you want to talk about the Kim that died?
We can go there if you want to call
We're going
it that.
to the ghost. We're calling the ghost of the past. I remember her fondly, but that Kim did not know herself, Gem. The only thing I knew back then was how to please people, because my entire life, my upbringing, my culture was be a good girl, take care of people, don't raise your voice, da-da-da. And that was also the reinforcement. I was never taught or been in any environment or conversation that says, respect yourself. Everything was about what you're portraying or what you're projecting or what you're doing for others, which I was very great at. I mean, I was a giver. I was someone that hoped, because you keep hearing that you give and you get it back, and you're sitting there almost in starvation energy that someone's going to love you the same way, someone's going to care for you the same way, someone's going to understand you the same way. But the reality is that's the wrong lesson. You've got to love yourself, respect yourself, and from that energy, everything, begins to line up. So older Kim was, the foundation of her was validation, was starvation of love and acceptance. You're always catching your tail, or you're overgiving, or you're trying, and you're doing all of that. Yet, net, the beauty of life is, even if you're off track, the minute you align to your spirituality, to your higher self, she will get you back there. Not in the nicest way. We know that. Never the nicest way. The more disaligned you are, the minute, and I say that, the key word being the minute you align to your higher self, she will bring you back. Whether it's a soft journey, whether it's a roller coaster journey, she will bring you back. So, long story through and through, my foundation has always been spirituality. Gemma, when I was a teenager, you know this, but this is for everyone that doesn't know, that's the time I used to see the ghost and, talk to spirits, and my connection with everything psychic was very strong, but I didn't have a learning, I didn't have a teacher, I didn't have a mentor. So I was always meant for this path. It was just being a little, I'll say that now, a headless chicken, just following what the world says you need to do at different timelines in your life. But that's the beauty. If you align back to spirituality, and it doesn't have to be the depth that I am in now, but even simple questions of sitting down in silence and asking, "Hi self, can you show me?" Or if you align to God, "God, can you show me? Am I on the right path? Can you lead me back?" And comparing old Kim to now Kim, one of my biggest turnarounds, Gem, is when I learned to embrace discomfort. Whether it is the discomfort of what is, whether it is the discomfort of the body, whether it is the discomfort of your fear and uncertainty, that was a very pivotal moment in my life, because, again, as humans, we don't want pain. We delegate onto somebody else a responsibility / burden to not cause us pain. And the minute you take that back and say, we know this in our gang, like, did you die? Well, we did not. If you died, your problems are gone, and maybe a couple of other people's problems are gone. So just taking that, it doesn't have to be so harsh. We just say it in the way we do, that me going through every situation of fear, staying alone, being sick alone, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to die. If I died, great. Where's the key? Somebody can come and, do whatever they need to. Going through all those fearful, uncertainty moments is where you regain your power.
Amazing. And I guess, so there's Kim before, that you felt maybe the basis, you were seeking that validation, you were seeking approval, the people pleasing. So as you got older, I guess the foundations then became rocky, and then I know that you've recently been through a lot of personal changes, but also in the kind of business world as well. But I'd like you to explain kind of who Kim was, because I know you were once in the normal business world that a lot of us find ourselves in, right? In the last few years, that's where you've really dived into becoming your own boss, driving your own business and things like this. But I know that wasn't you. So I don't know if you're comfortable talking to us about you in a situation that many of your viewers will see themselves in. Is, look, okay, Kim, you're great because you're kind of in the entrepreneurial world. You can do X, Y, Z. You're able to live freely and, et cetera, or your definition of free. But actually, I know you were in the corporate world before. So I'd like to understand a bit more about Kim, old Kim, dead Kim, back then, and who was she in the business world, right?
So actually, in a very weird way, people that seek validation or are people pleasers, you'll do very well in the corporate space because your achievement is validation. You getting things done is reinforcement to that validation. So I was doing really well. I was at a job that I manifested. For a person from finance background, working at DIFC is a big thing. So was there reporting straight to CEO. Nobody had an issue with me. I had my, did things my way, and it was perfect. But I was dying inside, Gem. Like I remember very categorically, one day I wrote in my journal, if I die today, is my soul going to be happy? And I'm like, I'm very dramatic, people, if you don't know. And I'm like, no, I've not even lived. I don't even know myself. I don't know there was this, everything was great on paper. On the outside, you got a job, you're in DIFC, but I was dying, like literally every single day there was the silent death inside of me. And I took a chance on myself. I used to study yoga over the weekends, like 6 hours. I signed up for a course. And because back then my mind was, you got to have a safe bridge to move somewhere. And incidentally, my entire life, every big change always came with yoga. When I was in college, when I used to see, have these premonitions, I went to yoga and I started studying there, it grounded me. This big life change, again, I studied yoga. And my soul path is always to be a teacher. But the head path, the fear path, what brings money, was always leading me back into, now I'm great at, people would see me, the yoga instructor, and be like, you're great at chatting. Maybe you should run our marketing. You should do sales for us. And I'd be like, yeah, that's more money. That's safer. And I would keep going, catching my tail, going back down, spiraling down, and then finally come back, find my strength in teaching. There was this one day, it was the week before my daughter's school, and I used to do a lot of workshops for them. So I went to a school, I did a meditation for the entire staff, and I came home and my face was glowing. I still have that picture, and I looked at it and I'm like, I've not seen that. And that was the day I was like, forget the money. I'm going to give myself 1 year to teach. It feels right. My body is showing me, the energy is affirming this. 1 year, whatever it takes. It took everything, of course, because back then I was a know-it-all. Because you're successful in your career, everybody listens to you. So I'm like, yeah, I don't need a business plan. I'm Kim. Like, come on, doors open wherever I go, which they did even back there. But the attitude of I know it all, because I was in this position, it cost me a price. It cost me my savings. It cost me delayed success. It cost me a lot of comforts that I had to forego. But finally, better late than never, I started to realize that I didn't like the person I'd become. I was angry. I was judgmental. I was not ready to receive guidance. If anyone said something to me, I was like, you don't know anything. I know everything. Can you imagine?
This is all on camera. My gosh. You're admitting this. No, and I think that for me, being a friend of yours for, say the last 4 or 5 years, and I think many of your inner circle now would say the same, we could not imagine you being that person.
Exactly.
At all, because you are so open. You are so... you're so welcoming and things like this. So when you talk about the old Kim, the corporate Kim, maybe the Kim that, again, let's be honest, you're masking a lot of things, right? Because you're saying that you were not feeling it, you weren't feeling
And it's funny because when I speak to my old colleagues, they look at me and they're like, no, you were never like that. It's a weird thing because they don't remember me that way. They would still see facets of what you are seeing, Gem. But I remember being that way. I remember being angry, and maybe it was not angry at others. I was angry at myself because you're away from your truth. You're away from what you're meant to be. You're away from walking in joy, walking in truth, speaking your truth, living in happiness. I was a happiness giver, a joy giver, peacemaker, performer and all of that. So they wouldn't even remember these things. They'd be like, no, you're talking bullshit. But I remember. I remember last year, you and I had a chat just last week where we were talking about my food habits, and you're like, Kim, what were you saying? And in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm actually very harsh with myself. My self-judgment is still a little bit excessively on a certain level.
Yeah.
And that was our takeaway from our chat the other day, that maybe I have to just keep looking back and see how far I've come and celebrate the milestones.
Yeah. And I think it's an interesting point. I always talk about female leadership. Like, I think we've all been there. We've all had a boss that, how do I put it nicely? I'm all for women in business, but I have historically found it quite difficult to have a female leader. And it's really sad saying that, because I'm really all for women being in business. I think we've got so much to bring to the workplace, to life. We really do help the world go round. But again, the female leadership has always been a bit tricky for me. And I think when I reflect on myself, maybe when I've been a leader, I think maybe I haven't been the most positive leader, because maybe I'm being triggered in a certain point within the workplace. Maybe I'm feeling insecure because maybe I don't feel like I deserve to be in that leadership role. So again, I project onto the team, which again is maybe something that you were doing. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners here and the viewers may have that kind of situation at work, or maybe they're feeling that certain way. And I think it's okay, but let's see how we can change it. Yes.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the next question. Female leadership. What's that in your mind?
Female leadership is just a female holding a leadership position. Feminine leadership is a female in her feminine energy leading. It's a worlds apart. The universe is apart. It is not the same. What you and I speak of, and unfortunately, Gem, not a lot of us have seen women figures in their feminine energy that is in the workplace. When we think of feminine, we're thinking of moms and grandmoms, and they're like, yeah, your warmth and your kindness. And then you think of a woman in the corporate, or you look at movies, or you look at, OTT series, just strong women, masculine women.
Like the boss bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I hate that
and
phrase.
When you look at every storyline out there, it's like she is angry all the time. She is yelling all the time. We look at a feminine woman as mother, grandmother, nurturing, and then we look at leadership as a woman that is, I'm sorry to say, but it's a fact, obnoxious as hell in her approach. Because when your masculine energy is on overdrive, a man can do it, and because he's a masculine, it lands. It's not okay at certain levels, but it lands, and then it just brushes off your head. But a woman's energy, whether she's in feminine or not, just by merely being a woman, it stays with you longer. It permeates your energy deeper. So when a woman is on a masculine overdrive, she's bitchy, bossy, aggressive, it harms you more than it elevates you. And then unfortunately, those women, they strive harder, they work harder, but they're respected much lesser. So then what is feminine leadership? Again, drawing back from the little story that people know, is work on yourself. Your foundation cannot be validation. Your foundation cannot be people-pleasing. Your foundation cannot, ladies, be insecurity. Insecurity is an open wound that women have, because you're always looking for a masculine energy for protection and providing. That's how we are as kids. When you look at kids playing, they naturally, a girl child is naturally nurturing. A boy child is naturally running around like he's got so much of energy to expend. So that is physiologically how different male and female is. But because that provider, protector energy is an open space for a girl, for a female, when you grow up, that's what adulting is, that you become 18 and you sit and say, great. Let's look back at my culture, my conditioning, my reinforcements. What do I want to keep? What do I want to release? And what do I want to draw on my life chart? then you're like, oh, I think somebody has to do this for me. Can I start filling all these voids and holes and leakages within myself? And then from there, see what next happens. So feminine leadership, first point, do not function from validation, from insecurity, from the need to be liked.
I mean, it's a lot, and I think it's great showing and talking about this, but I can imagine a lot of people at home would be thinking, okay, I'm, I'm female in business. Oh, I am being a bit of all those things that Kim's talking about. Where do we start? Because it's a minefield. I think I've only been, exploring this space. I've done hypnotherapy, energy healing through you, and now we're doing a feminine leadership course, which is just incredible, where I'm, becoming more aware of myself, filling those holes. But again, I've been on this journey and I'm very lucky with my parents that they've done therapy and things like this quite openly, and we've spoken about it a lot. But again, I think there's a lot of cultures out there that don't have that kind of openness within their household. And so people don't really know where to look. So what can we do as a simple step to kind of start to unlock this feminine within us? Because it's within us, right?
It is within us. It's about balancing which parts of your energy is on overdrive. So I'll be honest, there's no one simple thing to do. It's a way you conduct yourself for the rest of your life. You would remember, Gem, what we spoke of 4 years ago, we've grown from there. The therapy we would do, the work we would do, the energy healing, the conversations, we don't do that now. So it's to start off thinking, I want a simple fix, remove that. Embrace the knowing that it's about me, my life. I'm ready to go in. I'm going to start with 20 minutes a day. I'm going to start with 30 minutes a day. And then I'm going to go to
20 minutes
of self-work.
Self-work. Okay, what is the self-work?
So let's start. Self-work, if you're absolutely new, start with getting yourself a journal. If you can't do 5 minutes a day, fine, take yourself out on a date for 30 minutes over the weekend. Open that journal and say, how was my week? Start auditing your life, the energy, your decision-making patterns, how I feel, right? Then you go, this happened, that happened, this person said this, great. But you're the common denominator. So step number 2, start taking accountable. There is no self-love if there's no self-accountability. The minute you think self-love is, I'm going to go for a massage and I'm going to go to Bali, come join us next year, or I'm going to do all of that, but you don't hold yourself accountable, that's not self-love. That's fooling yourself. Okay? That's completely fooling yourself. Accountability, accountability, accountability. So take that journal, go out on a Sunday, buy yourself a nice tea or coffee or water, who cares? Sit and ask the question, how was my week? Great. Why? What happened? I met Gem. I met Kim. I did this. I did that. I had a good time. I had a slow morning. Da 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 da. I didn't have a good week. Why? This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Okay, great. If so many things happen to me, I'm the common denominator. What is my pattern? I don't respect time, other people's time. So people had to say things to me. I don't respect my time. I'm always catching my tail. I'm always late. Good. Take from that, extract one thing and say, next week, I'm going to be conscious about this. So that's going into what's happening. Then just add one layer and say, I will give myself 15 minutes in the morning. Get up 15 minutes early, sit on my balcony, sit 15 minutes extra in the shower, 15 minutes alone time. Just to be with my thoughts, with my feelings, look in the mirror and say, just for today, no judgment towards self, no judgment towards others. I'm going to give my best in everything I do. I'm going to not complain about anything. We're not going to be thankful for our problems. We're not silly. But I'm not going to complain. I'm going to receive. I'm going to shut up, go to the journal, release it out there, and give that a try for one day. So start with audit, self-audit, and then bringing it out on paper so you analyze and then you learn from that and say, one thing I'm going to try next week.
And look, from personal experience, again, this works. seems so simple. And the journal, we've, you know, in our gang, as you mentioned, we've always been, it's been our kind of friend on the side. But it's funny, the more work you do, and I think we're both testaments to this, the less pages you start to fill, which is really cool. Yeah, because you start to process those things, right? You start to, and talking about patterns, I talk about patterns a lot. I'm sure that in my circle, people get a bit frustrated, but looking at patterns, it's a pattern, right? And if you're seeing something happen over and over again, surely something's wrong. If that pattern you don't like, well, okay, how can we do the work to untangle where that pattern came from?
Exactly.
And how can we leave that in your past and then, you know, joyfully move to the future? Because if that's a pattern you don't like, go forward.
Change it.
Change it.
Change it. You're not
Take
a rock.
control. Take control, and then go forward. But that leads me on to, okay, why wouldn't? Because it sounds simple, and I mean, I've been here. I'm in this position, so it's not like I'm thinking, okay, it's a lovely thing to do. It works, and it's an amazing thing to do. But why are people not wanting to do that work, do you think?
Because
Again, from a
you're
feminine point of view.
hoping that you're giving, and someone is going to come and give that back to you. You saved a friend, you saved a family member, you save. So in your head, you're sitting in that, sorry to say, delusional mindset that because I gave, it's going to come back to me. No, your evolution of a soul is to learn lessons, is to be self-reliant, self being soul-reliant. So when people are avoiding the self-work, it's because not that they don't connect with it yet, it's because their own pattern of familiarity is I save somebody from a situation, so someone's going to come and save me. Everyone that's looking to be rescued is also a rescuer. They're rescuing other people. So in their mind, they're like, yeah, but that's the world I live in.
Yeah.
Like a few days ago, Gem, one of my friends, my client's husband asked me, isn't Dubai, I'm just drawing from the conversation, friendships are so surface level. I'm like, not in my world. Not in my world. Have they been that way when I came here? Probably yes. Are they like that right now? No, because in my world, that doesn't exist. But the other part of it is I'm not scared to weed off stuff that doesn't work for me. Because fake friendships don't fill a void. So again, it comes back to go to the void. They're scary places, Gem. It hits you deep in your core to sit and be like, I'm actually alone on my journey. Because we've been conditioned, and listen, I come from Bollywood, right? Not from Bollywood, but a world that has filled my brain like that you're never alone, you die together, you live together, la 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 la. But it also changed my parenting pattern where I take full onus that I spoiled my daughter, that nothing should hurt you, nobody should say anything to you, to today she's so independent because I changed. And I'm saying that if you're independent, you know how to conduct yourself, you know how to choose friends, you know how to make decisions, you know how to walk away from things that the story is over. It's nothing beyond that. Go live your life. There's an entire universe of awesomeness, and that reveals when you can walk a few steps, a few miles alone, because then you meet yourself. Most people, and I don't say this as women only, even men, to a large extent men, they don't want to meet themselves. We want to meet ourselves through the eyes of other people. We want to see ourselves that, okay, you massage my ego, great friend. You tell me the truth, let's keep you away. So meet yourself. If you don't like yourself, who's going to love you? If you like yourself, forget about love yourself. Start with, do you like yourself? Do you like the image in the mirror, the physicality of you? Do you like the way you sound? Do you like the way you project your wisdom, your sharing of whatever you've studied, or your, sharing with the world? If you don't like yourself, that is the beginning point of I'm going to unconsciously fill who likes me through validation. So then you are someone that's easily manipulated. Because people are not stupid, right? If you see, you go higher in the corporate ladder, just by experience, leaders, and it's fairly an assumption, but leaders know how to work with certain people because you're like, yeah, this person, I can push them. You're not pushing them, you can manipulate them because they're telling you how to manipulate them. They're telling you that your validation means the world to them. They're telling you, why do some people do wrong, unintegral activities? Because they're like, I was forced to do it. Who? Who forced you? You chose to do it because you wanted the respect of somebody that fills a void.
Yeah.
We went heavy there.
Heavy. No, and I think it's a good point. And I think you brought up your daughter there, who I know you're incredibly proud of.
Yeah.
And I think you've done the most amazing job. And I think that's a whole nother podcast in itself. Obviously, me being a mother of two, I think the work that, again, I've done with you and kind of meeting myself, loving myself, it's made me an amazing parent. I'm going to say it. I feel that I am a great parent.
You are.
I have we set up a really nice foundation for my kids and my husband and things like this. So again, that's through meeting myself because I know what I can bring to the table. I know where I don't bring something to the table, so we can get our systems in place. So I think it's a whole other podcast in itself, but I think it is very relevant to the workplace as well. I do want to go into, there's a lot of talk at the moment around wounded feminine and also divine feminine, which I believe is the kind of the opposite. If you can just tell us a little bit more about those two kind of opposite sides of the spectrum.
Absolutely.
And then we'll dive in a little bit more.
Yeah. So the wounded feminine is a scary aspect of the woman. The wounded feminine's foundation is insecurity. The wounded feminine's foundation is, please rescue me. So on the outside of it, a feminine that is a female that is in feminine uniform, a wounded feminine does look welcoming, does look, eager, very hospitable usually, but it's all coming from validation. It's all coming from, if I give, I'll receive. And the signs of a wounded feminine is emotional spikes. There's no steadiness. You don't know when she's going to go boom. Right? In her head, it's like the same thing. I give, and I'm welcoming and I'm nice and the best friend in the world and la la la. And then suddenly, because her cup has gotten empty, she will just explode. She will just explode, whether it is at work, whether it's her friends, whether it's her family. And unfortunately, the trend of a wounded feminine's lifestyle will always show very few friendships because people are like, you're nice when you're nice, but when you explode, I don't know who I see. So that is wounded feminine, but on the outside she's dressed like a feminine woman. So that is why in the corporate world, when you talk of feminine, people are like, feminine leadership? But we've seen a feminine break down, cry in boardrooms, can't take accountability. That is all signs of wounded feminine. You can't say anything, rescue operations, spikes in emotional imbalances, not emotionally regulated, does not respect other people's boundaries, will have her boundaries, but does not respect other people's boundaries. So when that wounded feminine is in a leadership position, everything is mood-based. We're not meant to be, an open book to the whole world. You got to have, you remember our boundary framework, you got to have where somebody lies in your circle of influence, in your circle of connection to you, they have different accesses. But a wounded feminine in a leadership position is just unreliable in terms of her emotional regulation. So one day you can have a certain behavior and she'll be, yeah, it's okay, it's all fine. And next day she'll make a big fuss about it because she had a fight back home. So that is where, again, women get a bad rap sheet in the leadership world because like, she's emotional. Is she on a PMS or she's on menopause? And you allow yourself to give that as a reason, as a wounded feminine, that, oh, I'm sorry, I was just having a bad day, it was PMS. Okay, what are you going to do about it? Emotional regulation is the opposite of wounded feminine, which is your divine feminine. You do not take anything for granted. There's that constant state of gratitude. There's that constant state of accountability. There's that constant state of, I know what I'm right at, but I'm also well aware that there's an entire world behind me that I'm not aware of. And I receive that. I won't embody it. I won't take everything personal. I'll receive your comment. Let it simmer. Let's see what it feels, what it's like. Let's have a follow-up communication with it and see where that leads. So, again, if a comparison of a wounded feminine, everything has to be her way or there is an outburst. There has to be a timeline that fits her timeline versus divine feminine is grounded in her presence that the outside world does not need to be controlled. Wounded feminine will change the environment to make it right for her. Divine feminine, the environment changes because she exists.
Yeah. And I think maybe some listeners might think, okay, we're not being very nice towards females and et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to pause there and say there is also the same for the masculine as well. So I'd really like to understand, just so we can understand more about what we can expect from a masculine point of view as well. I know there's divine masculine and a wounded masculine. Can you talk a little bit more about that as well? And I think
Absolutely.
the reason
it's most easy to observe. It's not really a 10-pointer list, but an angry man is a wounded masculine. Simple. Look at his face. Khalas.
Yeah.
Look at him. Angry, looks like he's going to go and, start a fight. That's his energy showing he's disappointed in life, in himself. He hasn't met himself. So that projects in a masculine, in a male, not a masculine, that projects in the energy of angry. Now, how does that manifest? It could be literal anger outburst, or it could be complete shutting down, and people that bicker all the time. There are men that go pa, 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 and then there are men that are so quiet and then they just again explode. You haven't met yourself. You're always going to be shut down, or you're going to be insecure, or you're going to be projecting anger. And just like the feminine, you will be used for that skill set. So an angry man will be reinforced for his aggression that, oh, you drive performance. And he's like, yes, I shall stay angry. What are you doing to yourself? That masculine will never be in his body. And what I mean by never be in his body, his connection to his bodily requirements, whether it's his food, whether it's his over exercising or not exercising. And there's two aspects of it, right? Some of them will just go excessively on, my body needs connection, so you're just working out. Or you're not doing any of that, and then your substance abuse or alcohol or food, or in very severe cases of being constantly angry, your entire sacral energy, it affects it for a man, and that makes him angry all over again. So I'm saying sacral energy, double click and understand for yourself, but that is what being dissonant from your own soul does to us. A woman shuts down, she'll keep searching, seeking. A man keeps projecting more and more. I'll try harder, I'll be sharper, and then you keep landing on your nose every single time.
And I think it's good to understand, what does a divine masculine look like?
Not very different from a feminine, secure, validated. For men, the
Validated
masculine
within themselves.
within yourself. And what does it mean? That for a lot of men, not being correctly validated as a child or having some sort of abuse as a child, I've worked with male and female, and you know this in the past, it hits them harder. A woman can follow light faster and leave a story behind. She will remember the story and goes, into it once in a while, spiraling back. But she can follow the light faster. Male energy holds onto abuse for a long, long time. And it's very heavy because they're like the energy closes. And you've asked me, why don't I work with men? Because I don't know how much I should be charging to work that deeply with men, because the energy is so tight, it's so shut. It takes a lot more to open that up. So again, what does a divine masculine look like? Go to therapy, go and heal, do your breath work, find a mentor. Adulting is saying my parents' responsibility of providing for me emotionally, spiritually is over. I am going to go meet myself. You don't have to be, spiritually doing things that we do. You don't have to be, chanting necessarily. You can do what you want to. But first, can I admit that I have a soul, and can I start talking to him and her? Can I have that connection with myself? Everything starts there. When we're not seeking validation, we're not looking at our partners to fill a void, then you're coming so whole. You don't get upset if someone doesn't respond to you. You don't get upset if someone didn't say something.
Or overthink.
For anything, because you're like, I'm complete and I'm working on myself. It's a constant journey. You are, see you for dinner. My life didn't stop because you got busy. But because you're empty and everyone's, just have this visual, everybody's empty and they're like, I have one drop, take. You have one drop, take. Oh, no, you didn't give me a drop. We're like idiots.
Yep.
Get comfortable in the noise of that silence. There's a noise in silence because your mind will catch up and go, at crazy stories, and that's the embracing of discomfort. Sit through it. You won't die.
And this is where I kind of got connected prior to you. I think it was about a year or two before I met you. And that's, again, where my life changed, where I simply found a YouTube video. It was a meditation, 15-minute meditation, I think, connecting myself with my past self or future self. I can't remember exactly. I've actually since tried to find that meditation because it genuinely did change my life. And I couldn't. However, I'm sure there's many, many out there. But there's a couple of other things that I did. I took myself to the cinema on my own. And not with your phone. I mean, I had my phone with me, but I just really tried not to be on your phone because, again, that's always keeping your mind going and then you get FOMO. And just leave your phone at home. Go to cinema on your own. Go, take yourself on holiday on your own. Go and have a hotel stay on your own.
Yeah.
And don't tell anyone about it. That's the beauty. And I think that we're living in this culture now of every oversharing, which I know is a wounded trait as well. And oversharing and things like this. Just don't tell everyone about what you're doing.
Exactly.
No one needs to know if you're having a weekend on your own.
Yeah.
No one needs to know if you're going down for a coffee for 15 minutes, writing a letter to yourself. That is the beauty. But it's so, and again, I've been there before 5-6 years ago. It was very uncomfortable, but actually I found myself and my life has just flourished ever since.
Absolutely.
And I really think that's a nice, if we're talking about hints and tips, it's a really nice couple of tips there as well.
Spend time with yourself. Don't fill that
Date
space
yourself.
with, with distraction, with noise. Because yes, silence is noise. It's not soothing. You get that beautiful silence when people start off, they're like, I can't meditate. Yeah, because you've never meditated before. You're not going to feel what I feel yet. I'm not going to feel what my teachers feel yet. But you start somewhere.
Yeah.
Be distracted in the meditation. It's okay. But shut your eyes for a bit. Calm your body. Connect back. You have to start somewhere.
And I think, again, if I can talk from personal experience, and I want to talk about personal experience because I think when you are of your level, where you are a teacher, spiritual teacher, I think sometimes in the corporate world, and I'm in the corporate world, you do think, oh my gosh, who's this talking? They're not connected to the real life, a bit woo-woo. And so that's why I'm kind of sharing my experience because, again, life has got better since reconnecting with me. And again, the journaling is far and few between now. I have started chanting and doing career work. That's a whole other podcast in itself as well. And, it really does open your life if you're just brave enough to look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm not happy with this. Why? find your leader, find your teacher,
Yeah.
and kind of delve a bit deeper. So that kind of leads me in to, I know that you're doing a course at the moment in feminine leadership.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what we can expect going into that course, but also what we can expect as an output?
Oh. So the course is very Kim style, Stop Being a Masculine Woman. And it's across 6 weeks, where every week we alternate between doing a face-to-face. It's a group, a very small group. You know, I like to do it a little bit more intimate so everyone has access to me. So it's a group of 10, and we start with every alternate week. We meet face-to-face, and then we have online sessions, and then you have things to practice. So what to expect from that is, one, you can't change if there's no admittance. If you don't see a problem, you're not going to change. So we go through everything that is masculine behavior patterns, the lack of delegation, the emotional imbalances, the lack of emotional regulation, your style of communication, your listening, how to change control to certainty. Now, let's just dive. That's just week 1, right? Certainty is not that everybody is going to answer every question for me and I have everything on paper. That's certainty. I'm talking about the energy of certainty. Let it be darkness ahead. Who cares? I know myself. I know what I know, and I know what I don't know. So I'm ready to walk that path and build the path on the way, because it's no longer about me. It's about what I know intellectually, which I'll apply later, but it's about creating that channel to your higher self, to your higher consciousness that guides you on the path that is right for you. Nobody's becoming Kim, nobody's becoming Gem. You're becoming your best self. You're walking, learning the tools of how to stay in your lane. You're recognizing the tools of, when I leave my lane, what happens to my energy? How do my dominoes fall in my life? Because I'm living someone else's life. And that is, back in leadership, I had one of my very senior clients, runs billion-dollar companies, and she wrote the statement, my job is to clean up the shit my team creates. And we chatted for a bit, and I'm like, you're outside your lane. You hold people accountable to clean up after themselves. You teach them how not to create a shitty situation. And if they can't, send them to courses, send them for therapy, send them wherever. Your job is not to clean up after your staff. You have a mission. You work on the mission. So certainty is first creating that energy of control brings me certainty. I need to see the full plan and then I'll do something. No, I need to know the energetic structure, skeletal structure of it, and then what do we do? One of the other aspects of feminine leadership in the course is understanding the truth. People say speak your truth, but a lot of times, Gem, people are speaking judgment and saying it's my truth. You're casting judgment. That's not speaking your truth. So how do you double click deeper into it and say, what is the truth? How do I create invitation to say, Gem, from my perspective, this is what it looks like. Can we have a chat about it? That's invitation. And more than often, you'd be surprised that there's a different world out there. But to give that invitation, you got to not be in a state of, I am right. I know it all. My wounds matter, my energy matters, my emotions matter. I don't know who you are. So that requires a lot of growing up. So we covered that. Then one of the sessions, one of the weeks is, I think week number 4, is a non-negotiable where we go on a 1-day retreat where we're touching deeply on the energy of shame. Because love, shame, money, you know this, we covered this. If it's interrelated, you're catching your tail. You have to understand the energy of love separately, to self, to others, the energy of shame and the energy of money. When we are in shame, we mix everything up. So when a woman is in shame or a man is in shame, you try to comfort yourself by money. what money you have, the way you spend, the way you'll give to someone, the way you'll save someone and rescue someone. Because then you feel by doing that, you get love, you get respect. Because inside, there's shame that you felt out of something in the past, what's been said to you, just a wound that you've not, opened and allow it to heal or led yourself into healing. So when we go and heal that aspect of shame, whether it's body shame, whether it's the way you look, the way you feel, some story about the past, anything, or even the shame of having things. Many of us, we dived into this at the retreat, that many people work so hard, and then when they get the stuff, they feel shame for even getting so much. Like, I'm lucky, let's be shameful about it. Because your body has a pattern of just having one emotion, which is shame, as the base emotion, right? So we cover everything on that. That is, my intense work. That day is full intense. We go deep into the topics, the understanding, clearing of the energy, meditation, energy healing, the works. And then the promise is, when you get out of the program, you know yourself better, you know your patterns, but then you have an entire reservoir of tools to say, I'm an ego. I'm going to share this with the guys that Gemma and I were chatting last week at, where were we, at Batil. And I said, babe, I got this message and it was so offensive. I'm like, wait, I felt offended. Let's go into ego eradicator. Like, it's so silly, but imagine there is a tool for every emotion you feel. So you suddenly don't have to sit in the emotion for 25 days and you're like, I'm angry, I'm upset, da-da-da. Quick recovery. And that's the promise. So when you get out of the course, you're not looking spirituality separate, you're not looking as feminine as I'm going to go and have a fun time. You're integrating that into your world. You can't switch off like, I'm masculine at work and I'll go home and I'll expect to be a soft girl. That's bullshit. Don't lie to yourself. It's not a switch. Energy is not a switch. Energy is embodiment. What you practice daily becomes who you are. If you're at work, someone that has to find faults in people's patterns and behaviors and reports, you're going to carry that energy back home, and then you're just going to be resting bitch face. And it's not your fault, but I told you today, so you can change, right? So it's about integration. So feminine leadership program is going to surface everything in a safe space, in a small intimate group of what you're doing, why that might have happened, what's the better way, how to hold yourself accountable. If you work with me, that's in the Kimlish dictionary. Hold yourself accountable without judgment, without silent judgment. Show yourself compassion, but be a beast in changing. Because if you don't, it's your life. It's going to be the same old, same old.
No, and I think again, been working with you for quite some time, and I know something maybe at the beginning when we met, I think you were kind of finding your feet, and we did a lot of things in the moments, the energy healing, which served a purpose for sure, and I absolutely love it, but it served a purpose to kind of say, okay, Kim, this happened at work or this happened at home. Okay, let's clear the energy, and then things click. What I love seeing about your transition now is actually you want to, what's the saying where you say, teach the people to fish rather than give them a fish.
Exactly.
I feel like that's the new phase that Kim's going into now. It's actually teaching people to fish rather than just giving a fish and giving the energy healing session, which I think is amazing. And again, from personal experience, it's working. And
absolutely, because
it's very, very cool.
You remember, and I've said this, when we've chatted offline as well, that it's great money to go and fix someone. But for me, I don't feel karmically correct, because if you don't know how to organize your thoughts, you don't know how to regulate your emotions, thanks for the money, but what's the purpose in that?
Yeah.
Again, someone is looking to be rescued, and I'm a rescuer, and that's not my path.
Yeah.
Teaching is hard. There's a lot of, like you've said this, to be brave, to sit and say, Kim, this happened and this is a thought I have. We to have that acceptance and say, my ego came up. Fragile ego is leading the conversation. Or to even sit and say, you know what, someone is telling me something, but they're hiding behind the words. Let's feel the energy of their intentions.
Yep.
You know, so there's a wisdom in learning. We've been hearing this for years, Gem, that when people say, keep learning, be a student forever, it means something. Find your teachers, stay with them for a minimum 2-3 years. That's when life changes, because they get to see you. And I know as a teacher, I know so many things, but I don't start and plonk it onto somebody's shoulders at the beginning.
Yeah.
So when you work with a teacher and a mentor, you allow them your unlayering, unlearning, and then they can add.
Yep.
Like even my teacher right now, for me doing 11-minute kriyas was a big commitment. And I do 2.5 hours a day. And Katya said exactly where you were sitting there, and she said, depending on what you want in life, do that amount of kriyas. And I'm like, yeah, I want a lot more. 2 hours, here we go.
And kriyas, for anyone that doesn't know what a kriya is?
A kriya is a practice where you can shut your ego aside, follow instructions for your breath work, your energy alignment, your nervous system management, working with your arc line, which is your aura, and again, grounding in yourself, which is your spirituality, and just see how life changes. You've been introduced to it, and isn't it?
You get a whole new face.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Kim, it's been such a pleasure. How has it been on the other side of the microphone today?
Love it. I don't notice the microphone, actually.
No, and I think it's amazing. I think there's so much wisdom you have to share with the world, and I think that you need to be on that side of the mic more, because there really is so much that I've personally learned from you, that so many people in the city and also across the world that's learned a lot from you in the path you've kind of tread. I am week 5, I think, into the course, and genuinely it's amazing. And when I think about just all the tools that I can take back into the workplace, also at home, and again, one thing I did want to say, and maybe you'll add to this as well, is that when you start doing work on yourself, you can alter 7 layers around you, right?
Yes.
I think that's a key point for people to know. So maybe if we can have 5 more minutes, just learn a little bit more about, okay, yes, you're doing the work on yourself, but it's actually helping
generations. So energetically, even through your DNA, through cell memory, if your parents had trauma, somebody came from a war zone or whatever, we received that as kids. Likewise, when you heal, you change that structure within you. You change your energetic patterns and you heal that for your kids. Look around, women in business. Your kids don't need more classes. They need a nervous system regulated mother. They'll find their way. You'll teach them. They'll receive what you teach them. But if you're always on gas and yelling and exhausted, they're going to be receiving that energy. So start with yourself. Meet yourself. Like yourself. Work on yourself. Be brave to go to therapy. And not a therapy, and I'm going to say this out loud, not a therapy where your therapist said, yeah, everybody's a narcissist. You're the queen of the world. If your therapist is not calling out your bullshit, change your therapist, right? Be brave. Go to someone that is your safe space. You look at their life, you look at their energy, and you're like, yeah, I feel good here. This person is going to hold me accountable, not comfort me. Not comfort me. If your therapist tells you the world is a problem, you're not, leave your session. Go to someone that will show you the mirror, because that's where we grow. And they don't have to be nasty about it. You can, see the mirror in the nicest possible way. Thank you, Gem, for hosting me.
Thank you for this opportunity.
And well, many more to come.
Many more. No, thank you, Kim, and we'll see you next time.